Boycotting woke Harley Davidson is going to backfire. Harley Davidson's gone woke and there's a lot of talk about boycotting Harley Davidson. Now, we all hate the woke agenda. Not only is it forced upon people who don't want it, a lot of it's really crazy and makes no sense at all until you understand what's actually behind it. So any brand that we love, including Harley Davidson, adopting woke policies is not a good thing. But I think your anger about it is going in the wrong direction. You're being played and it's deliberate. I'm also going to explain where you should direct your anger, your energy, your action, so that something's actually done about it. Boycotting Harley Davidson, it's not going to work. It's a waste of energy, and I'll show you why. Just over a year ago, I did a video titled Harley Davidson is being forced to go woke, and in that video I explain exactly what's happening and why. Harley Davidson is being forced to go woke. After the first company does it, and the reaction is bad, you would think that all of the other companies are going to say, well, that didn't work out, we're not doing that. But now the point is, and the reason I'm telling you that is because it's not actually a new thing. It's only back in the news because recently a reporter with a large following has written an article on it, and it's caused a bit of a sensation. I think it's taken a few people unaware. Harley Davidson and all public companies are adopting woke policies like DEI. DEI stands for diversity, equity and inclusion. And in real life that means they hire a diverse range of people: red, blue, green, orange, pink, someone that can't read, someone that rolls around in a chair, whatever the DEI rules are, they follow. It means they've got one of each in the office. They can tick a scorecard and they can say, look how good we are, to their masters. And we all know what the result of this is. It means that the best person for the job actually misses out. Of course, it's a lot more complicated than that. The woke policies are actually political and social design policies. Personally, I think they overreach into people's lives. But there's actually a more sinister program behind it all, and that's what we're going to get into. First, before I reveal the secrets of the world, we need to reveal the secrets of today's sponsor. That's Resurgence Gear motorcycle clothing. You saw the video of the brave soul being dragged mercilessly behind a car in order to test the Resurgence Gear jeans. Now, the denim wore through, but the secret layer of Pekev, a Kevlar-like material, it's exclusive to Resurgence Gear clothing, that was revealed under the denim, and did you notice it was unpenetrated, unlike some people in the corporate world? You see, Resurgence Gear hasn't gone woke. They thrive on bringing the best motorcycle clothing to you, and to show you how serious they are, if you use the code OldNotDead, you'll get a 10% discount. And don't forget the great merchandise at oldnotdead.club. I really appreciate your support. Now, if you get to the end of the video and you still want to sell your Harley, you're going to have thousands of dollars left over to spend on Resurgence Gear jeans and Old Not Dead merchandise like hoodies, t-shirts and beanies. Just saying, we're not woke. Now, the first reason that boycotting Harley Davidson is not a good idea is because it's going to hurt the people that don't deserve it. In order to explain this, I've got to explain a little bit about companies first. So Harley Davidson's a company, a public company, and a company is a standalone legal entity. For a public company like Harley Davidson, it's split into millions of shares, and people or other entities can own those shares and therefore have ownership in Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson's actually split into 169 million shares. Most of those are traded on an exchange, and as of today, they're worth about 35.5 American dollars. And of course, this fluctuates every minute. In Harley Davidson's case, the majority shareholders are certain investment companies that are known for promoting the woke agenda. Now, being major shareholders, these particular entities can influence Harley Davidson a lot. They pick the board of directors. They're the people that oversee the direction of the company, and they also influence who's going to be hired as executives to run the company on a day-to-day basis. So that's what you need to know about how companies work. Now, Harley Davidson was revealed as woke in the middle of last year. I think I released my last video in June 2023. As you can see from this chart, and each of these lines represents a single day's range in price, you can see that overall the Harley Davidson price is up since the middle of last year. So the woke impact has done nothing in terms of price and profit, because the price of Harley Davidson shares is impacted by potential future profit. Now, currently financial analysts rate Harley Davidson as a hold or a buy, and that means they've got faith in whatever plan Harley Davidson has put forth. Analysts are predicting the share price to range from $34 to $55, and the second quarter results were up higher than expected, even though it's a tough market. So I think that's going to put a floor underneath the Harley Davidson share price. So let's say you want the Harley Davidson boycott to impact the CEO and the top executives that are running the show. Think about this, they're not running the show, they're merely going along with the show. Some of them might even believe in the show. You see, they have a highly skilled profession that not many people are going to be qualified in, and that's running an international company successfully. They're just going to move on to another company, they're going to be looked after wherever they go, irrespective of what happens to Harley Davidson. Now, the major shareholding companies who are pulling the strings of Harley Davidson, they're so wealthy that it's probably incomprehensible to the average person. What I mean is they've got a slice in everything all over the world. I'm not making this up, it's on the public record, and I've seen the organisational chart that shows the reach that these companies have, and they literally own a part of everything of the entire world. What they own is beyond comprehension. Nothing's untouched. So it means that owning a slice of Harley Davidson is like you buying a t-shirt at the next rally. If something happens to one of your t-shirts, even if it's your favourite, you might say, oh, I really like that one, but you've got plenty of others. You can't hurt them financially, and their behind the scenes agenda is to change the fabric of society for the whole world. They don't care if one of their thousands of vehicles for change stops working, they'll get another one. Now, what about a boycott bankrupting Harley Davidson? I've seen people say this is what the company deserves. First of all, that would take an enormous volume of buyers giving up on the company. That's unrealistic. Very easy to change beer brands. You can give up Bud Light and move over to some other estrogen producer. It's easy to give up small items, but are you going to sell your Harley Davidson? Are you going to buy a different brand next time? I'm not, and personally I think you probably won't either, or most people won't, unless everyone does it. Then people follow along, and I doubt that's going to happen. I really doubt everybody's going to get rid of their Harley. And if it does happen, really, we're just destroying a community. It's only really going to hurt the wrong people, the people that deserve this the least. You see, the only people who are going to be affected by any boycott are the workers and the mum and dad shareholders. The mum and dad shareholders, because as the price of Harley Davidson shares fall, it's usually the little guy that goes into a panic and sells, potentially at a loss. The bigger players, like the majority shareholders, are just going to pick up cheaper shares if it's appropriate. They've got access to behind the scenes secrets, they know what the long-term plan is, and they're going to pick up cheap shares, and it's going to make them wealthier in the long run. And even if the big players lose money on Harley Davidson shares, they've got multiple investments and a team of professionals that's going to balance the losses against their wins, so that overall they have a win. Financially, they always win. That's why they're in the position that they're in now. Pretty basic stuff. Now, the workers are going to be impacted because corporate Harley Davidsons around the world are going to let staff go. Dealers are going to close, or they're going to let staff go. It's the workers, the salespeople, the mechanics that work behind the scenes, the lady at the front desk. And if there are less sales for Harley Davidson, corporate Harley Davidson are going to look for ways to cut costs. They'll probably do more things outside of the United States in third world countries. They'll probably spend less money, perhaps skimp on more parts. So normally if a company has dissatisfied customers, if people are upset for whatever reason, they're going to do their best to try and appease them within reason. But in this case, because of what's happening behind the scenes, I don't think they will, because they can't. And then of course we're forgetting the squillions, and I mean squillions of add-on businesses that are associated to the Harley Davidson product. Think about the people who make seats, performance parts, service your bike, all sorts of things. They're usually small businesses. They're going to be affected. And there's a huge community built around Harley Davidson motorcycles. Do you want that to stop? We can take up another hobby, knitting. We can all sit around and knit winter socks. And then we can talk about how we used to ride our motorcycles through all sorts of weather. So what colour socks are you going to knit? Put it in the comments below. I can see what you're thinking. I'm going to buy an Indian. No, you're not, because they're just as woke. All big companies are adopting these policies. Almost everyone's doing it. Even the military and law enforcement are under the thumb. Hardly anyone's got the strength of character or even wants to resist. So what's the solution? Unfortunately, there is no short-term solution, because we've let it go for so long. This is the result of us watching Netflix, being easily distracted and not taking an interest in our politics or what's going on around us in the community. Those that seek to harm us have a long-term plan, and we think short-term. You see, they think and work in multiple decades, and we're now seeing the culmination or the very end of a 100-year plan. And it brings up an interesting question. Have you got any fight in you? I noticed recently during the face nappy years, not many people stood up and fought. I was calling out grown men every day for wearing face nappies, and all they did was look away. Now that's behind us and people are embarrassed, and the reason I'm bringing it up is because something similar is going to happen again and again and again. Are you going to stand up this time? Now, just understanding that all this is going on, just being aware of the issue goes a long way to helping toward a solution. And for them to succeed, many pieces of a puzzle have got to come together. At the moment, the play is, and it was predicted and told to us, the years we're going through now are all about civil unrest. They're doing this by flooding communities with unsuitable immigrants. The more we fight each other, the more we argue amongst ourselves, the greater their ability to enforce security controls, which ultimately give them more control. It's for our own good, of course. It keeps us safe. Politics is boring, but it's interesting that most countries have two dominant parties that are the opposite of each other. Any fool and their friends can sit down and work out that both parties have good policies and bad policies. And you'd think they'd just get together and cherry pick the best policies. It usually runs along the lines of the left help people and the right builds the economy. So just combine the two, but they never want to do that. They want us arguing. It's really there for people to fight over if they don't like going to the football. Distracted is dumb. They're laughing at you, they're distracting you, they're trying to pick you off. Now, if you understand this, you'll look to bring peace with your neighbours instead of conflict. Overall, they want less people so that they have more control over those people, and they're going to do this through having one government that they are in control of. That's their plan. And you'll have noticed that a lot of the woke policies take away from the family unit. And the result of that, whether that's right or wrong, is people will be more isolated because people draw strength from groups and from the family unit. When people are alone, they are in a weakened state or weaker than they would be having allies. And these same policies, imagine more single people and less families, also have a negative impact on population, which is positive for them. And remember, it's only one small thing of many, many, many things. Think about pharmaceuticals, think about the food that they push on you, and think about what they tell you about the sun. Unfortunately, it's too big a subject to cover here, so you need to do your own research, and that brings me to the interesting point. I guess you've first got to believe that it's even happening. Then if you're interested, you'll research it and that will lead to change. We can't change the world, but we can individually do something positive that impacts ourselves. We can each change. And it starts when you stop watching Netflix and take an interest. You see, governments are not on your side. If you think it through, the first priority of any government is to be re-elected, irrespective of what they do, irrespective of what's in your interest. And really, they're just catering to the people who have deep pockets that want to push their own agendas. Everywhere you turn, they're siphoning your money away through taxes, and you've got to ask, where does that money go? They tell you it goes back into the community, but do the maths and you'll see that it doesn't. And the media, I can't believe that anybody, and I mean anybody, even watches legacy media anymore. The mainstream media is there as a voice, as a tool for propaganda to spread the words of your enemy. The media is your enemy. You see, it's the nature of your mind. Human beings are very pliable creatures. If you hear something being told to you over and over again, and you're not aware of this happening, you're not on guard, it's going to have the impact of making you believe it no matter what it is. It's not done overnight. It happens over a longer period of time, but it's very easy to see once you know what's going on. If you're going to boycott anything, boycott the mainstream media. If you're going to action anything, what about getting involved in politics, even if it's just at the local level? Look around. I know here in Victoria, the local councils are drunk with your money, spending it on useless things. And I know what you're going to say, you've got no time. Well, if you really haven't got any time and you can't be stuffed making time, at least research it, find some information and pass it on to the next person to help them maybe somebody has got the time. But really, our early lack of effort, our early I don't care attitude is coming back to haunt us, and it's going to get worse. Awareness and information gives you power. At the very least, it's going to keep you safe. And the things I'm suggesting today really are very small steps to make up for lost time, but you've got to do them if you want a future for your children. Now, if you like today's video, check out the video I'll link here where I talk about how Harley Davidson was forced to go woke.
Using all that's left, somewhere in your chest, on your sweetheart hidden mist.